Cause man, I listen to Badu. She got my third eye on fleek, so I keep a third eye on you.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, misery bots of all ages. We're back again with another video. This time, we're going to be talking about the real MK Tom Brady. And one of his latest videos, and how he has a point. He has a point. Now, Tom Brady, MK Tom Brady, isn't somebody I typically tend to agree with because he tends to take more of a cynical approach to NetherRealm in general, particularly anything NetherRealm has done after MK9. I tend to take more of a positive approach to a lot of the stuff that NetherRealm does, but I can't help it, but he makes a lot of good points, not just in this video. Like I listen to him because he's very knowledgeable. He used to be a tournament player and stuff like that, so he's very knowledgeable, especially with NRS games and stuff like that. So he has a well of knowledge there. So it would be ignorant of me not to listen to him and his views and his perspective and stuff like that, even if I don't agree. He does make a lot of good points when it comes to NetherRealm, and this is one of his later videos, and he has a point. Before I get into this video, if you like that intro music, definitely check out the Adrian Rockstar SoundCloud in the descriptions below. Let's get into the video. Like and subscribe, by the way.
What's up, everyone? MK Tom Brady here. So in this video, I want to talk about the biggest blunder, the most disastrous patch in the whole history of NRS, which says a lot. And, you know, the combat cast for Peacemaker was today. This patch is dropping tomorrow. There were a few things they talked about here that I want to weigh in very briefly at the end of this video. But what I really want to talk about is the biggest and most important feature that was coming in this patch, that is coming in this patch, which is crossplay. See, crossplay is the ability for people across multiple platforms, PS5, Xbox, PC, to all play with each other. This is standard in Street Fighter 6. This is standard in Tekken 8. It was promised to be at launch in Mortal Kombat, but here we are almost 6 months into the game. It has not yet been delivered until tomorrow, where Mortal Kombat finally gets crossplay.
Now, that's something in which he has a point. Like, Street Fighter 6 launched with crossplay. In fact, Street Fighter 5, if I'm not mistaken, launched with crossplay. And Street Fighter 5 came out, what, 8 years ago? Or something like that? So, like, and then you have Tekken that launched with crossplay. You have so many games that are launching with crossplay. Even outside of the fighting game genre, there's so many games launching with crossplay. And when you think about it, Mortal Kombat 11 had crossplay. Granted, it was only between the consoles, but it at least had crossplay later in its life cycle. That was a game that was another game that also should have launched with crossplay and had it across all of the boards, but it never came across. Crossplay never came to all of the platforms, unfortunately, but it at least came to the consoles. Mortal Kombat 1 should have launched with crossplay. It should. He has a point there. It is no real excuse outside of the game launching too early for it to not have launched with crossplay.
However, NRS goofed again.
And even still, with them bringing crossplay now, they're not even bringing it to all of the platforms. Nintendo Switch was excluded from the crossplay patch, unfortunately, which is kind of a shame because the Nintendo Switch players, if I'm not mistaken, the game costs about $70. It costs $70 on Nintendo Switch, if I'm not mistaken, which is the same price as what the other platforms have to pay for it. So it kind of sucks that the Nintendo Switch players are kind of getting the short end of the stick for a game that they paid $70 for. They paid just as much money as the PC, PlayStation, and Xbox people paid, and they're getting the shit end of the stick. It ain't even the short end. They're getting the shit end of the stick because they're not even included in the crossplay. So when later on when the player base begins to drop, like the player base may be extra smaller on the Switch because they don't have the option to play with other platforms. So that's really unfortunate. And NetherRealm just got to do better with that, and also bring crossplay to MK11. NetherRealm, stop playing with that.
Because they announced that crossplay will only be supported in 1v1 matchmaking modes. So what that means is you can do it in ranked, you can do it in casual match, you can do it in 1v1 private match, but you cannot crossplay. It is not supported in online lobby King of the Hill matchmaking, which is a disaster for the game.
That's another point. Like, if you're gonna bring crossplay, why not bring it to all of the game modes? That's weird. That's weird to me. Like, that's really weird to me.
Now, many of you may be hearing this and saying, Tom, what's the big deal? You're nitpicking here. And I'm sure there are other content creators like me that will cover this, and you guys will say, guys are a bunch of haters. Just be happy, right? They did what they promised. Crossplay's here. So I'm going to let someone else kind of weigh in on this first before I go in. Rip from Rips Arena, one of the biggest tournaments, online tournaments for Mortal Kombat 1. Rip holds this. Their daily events. It's a qualifier. It's one of the bigger tournaments out there. He made a video, and I'm going to let him explain why this is a big deal first, and then I'm going to go ahead and weigh in on this. So Rip, go ahead and take it away.
So what we want to talk about in this video, to make the long story short here, we don't even want...
This is like on some Inception shit. A video within a video within a video.
want to talk about Peacemaker. We originally wanted to, but I have to be honest, I am so pissed that I don't even want to do it anymore. The main thing is, in today's Combat Cast, they announced that crossplay, the big feature everyone was looking forward to, in my opinion.
I agree. Crossplay is definitely something, I would say, before Peacemaker was actually shown off. Because, like, again, I can't imagine people were hyped for Peacemaker. I do not imagine that. Like, the NetherRealm people were probably the only people who were hyped for Peacemaker. Because, like, I'm pretty sure most people didn't give a damn about Peacemaker. Even when they talked about the DLC characters, most people talked about every other character. They talked about the Quan Chi, they talked about Ermac, they talked about Homelander and Omni-Man, and even Takeda. I didn't really hear much talk about Peacemaker, honestly speaking, and myself wasn't even hyped for Peacemaker. But the fact that Peacemaker was also coming with this patch that was supposed to be adding crossplay, that was really interesting, and that was definitely a selling point to the Combat Cast and to this whole update with Peacemaker too. So he definitely has a point there.
Opinion, the most important feature.
I agree.
Game.
I agree. It's one of the most important features for the longevity of the game. Because obviously, Mortal Kombat sells really well. Obviously, even though the player count has dwindled and is still dwindling, it still has a relatively large player base. So, like, as of right now, I mean, you can find the game, no problem, for the most part. Where crossplay comes into play is later on down the line when the player base drops in each platform to a really low amount. This still makes it to where you can easily find games with a lower ping as well too. Because what happens is, as the game gets older and less people are playing it, well, yeah, you'll still be able to find pings, but then you'll be finding pings with somebody maybe in a different country or something like that. And then the ping ends up being really high, and then the experience tends to be kind of lackluster because you're fighting somebody really far away and stuff like that, which then causes people just, give up on the game and stuff like that. Where with crossplay, that's less likely to happen because now you're playing with a bigger pool of people.
Is not gonna be supporting King of the Hill matchmaking. And for every casual out there who potentially doesn't even understand what that means that means that crossplay is only gonna be available in 1v1 matches and in ranked leaderboards. That means you cannot do a lobby with friends. And for tournament organizers or competitive events, that means that you cannot host crossplay events because you are not able to spectate the game. You need to be in the lobby with 3 people, 2 players, 1 spectator. Most of the time it is me recording the footage for YouTube and for the scene, but that's not going to be possible. And I have to be honest, I'm so pissed about this that I decided just to make this rant video, just for that.
Okay, so there's a few other things that he...
Hold on, Tom. Let me go first, because Tom's perspective on this is a little bit different from mine. I'm going to go more from a business and financial perspective on this. That's stupid. That is dumb. Like, the dude is absolutely correct. Like, why wouldn't you bring crossplay to King of the Hill? That literally hurts the tournament scene. And for NetherRealm, that is really stupid, because think of it like this. Even from like a business standpoint, right? Tournaments is free marketing for the game. It's free marketing. You have people like this who Rip Arena, who says that his tournaments and stuff are like crowdfunded. He'll say it like later on in the video, and I'll get to that. But his joints is crowdfunded, which means that's no money coming out of WB or NetherRealm's pocket. You feel me? And they're doing the tournament, and you know that brings eyes to your game, and you have these people looking at these competitors playing the game at such a high level that entices these people to go out and buy your game. You are making it that much more difficult to get these high level players together in order to play and basically promote your game for free. That's what it all comes down to. Crossplay, King of the Hill, and the tournament scene, that's free promotion for your game, NetherRealm. That is free promotion. You can't beat that. You can't beat that. Like, it... Let's say you have some players. Let's say, for example, Ninja Killer has Mortal Kombat for Xbox, and you have Sonic Fox has Mortal Kombat for PC, and then you have who else? I can't think right. Gur. Let's say Gur, right? He has it for PlayStation, right? Well, if there's no crossplay, they would either have to purchase the game on a different platform, which a lot of people are not going to do that, or just not be able to participate in that specific tournament. So now you might have a tournament where Sonic Fox, if the tournament's on PC only, is dominating on PC, Ninja Killer dominating on Xbox, and Gur dominating on, let's say, PlayStation or whatever. And these are just examples, theoreticals. I know these characters, these people probably have it on every platform, but it's not as exciting. You feel me? Whereas if it was crossplay and you can have Ninja Killer going against Sonic Fox, going against Gur and stuff like that, that's going to make for a more exciting tournament. That's going to bring more people, more eyes on the tournament and on your game, NetherRealm. That's going to get people excited for your game. That's going to get more people wanting to purchase your game off of the free promotion of online tournaments. One of the things that helped MK11 was the crossplay between at least PlayStation and Xbox. Now, granted, Mortal Kombat 11, just like most Mortal Kombat and I would just say fighting games in general, tend to sell more on consoles anyway. At least those 2 games had crossplay. And if I'm not mistaken, you can do crossplay with King of the Hill and Mortal Kombat 11. You had really good high-level players come out of these online tournaments. People like the Mighty Unjust and the Chilean Twins playing in like ESL tournaments and stuff like that, and having epic, iconic moments that brought eyes and attention to Mortal Kombat 11, which in the end may have also helped sell Mortal Kombat 11. So it makes no sense to not bring crossplay to all of your game modes, including something like a King of the Hill, which can be used in online tournament settings that will then in turn be free promotion for your game. You feel me? So that's the perspective I'm looking at it at. Like, NetherRealm, what are you doing? That is free promotion. That is free promotion for your game that is losing players. You feel me? Like, the player count has been decreasing for the most part. You want that free promotion. You want these players who are playing and participating at a ridiculously high level showing what your game is capable of. Playing your game at the optimal performance level to entice newer gamers to get into your game. That's just my part on it. Like, I'll talk more about it, a little bit later on in the video. But let's listen to Tom Brady's.
He talks about, and we'll get to that here in a second. First, I wanted to talk about what he was saying about it does not support online lobby King of the Hill matchmaking. This is a big deal because we already know that the offline tournament scene for this game is not in a good spot. People do not want to travel to even Pro Series events. They certainly don't want to travel to grassroots tournament events. People don't want to travel for this game, which means the online tournament scene is even more important than it has ever been. And look, the netcode was not addressed. It's pretty crappy for this game, so they already have a hard enough time playing in it. But the biggest problem is that
I told you I usually don't agree with Tom Brady, and but he does make some good points. The netcode is fine. It's fine. Like, it's fine. He says it's crap, but I mean, Mortal Kombat 9's netcode was pretty garbage. Mortal Kombat X netcode was absolutely trash up until like XL. So it's like, in the NetherRealm community, we've dealt with worse netcodes than what we have in Mortal Kombat 1, is what I'm saying.
Right now in these online tournaments where you have Rips Arena, you have Champions of the Realm, you have the Coliseum, you have Tampa Never Sleeps, several others that do these events. The problem is that they only really have to cater to the PS5 audience because that's the larger player base. So if you're on PC, if you're on Xbox, you have to have a PC only tournament, an Xbox only tournament. So 2 of the 3 platforms are going to be alienated in one tournament or another. They all can't join each other the way they can in Street Fighter and Tekken. And
he has a point. He has a point. You're alienating your community in the tournament scene, which again is free promotion for your game, NetherRealm. What the hell?
I don't understand how NRS could not realize that King of the Hill online matchmaking in a lobby has got to be supported because now all platforms can play. This is something that will breathe some life back into the online tournament scene. It will certainly help a lot of the numbers. You have people on PC and Xbox that haven't been able to compete in a single online tournament league because of how it's catered toward PS5. Again, because that is the majority of the player base is on PS5.
That's another good point. That is another good point that he has. It's PS5 is the better selling console out of the PS, out of the PlayStation and Xbox. Granted, Nintendo Switch is way, in terms of sales, way higher than both Xbox and PlayStation combined. But Nintendo Switch doesn't have crossplay. So yeah, we can just kick that out, and most people aren't probably playing the Nintendo Switch version at a competitive level. So the majority of people more than likely have Mortal Kombat 1 for PlayStation. But again, like you said, you're alienating potential superstars that may be on Xbox or PC. Now, we already know what the PC numbers are. Those things is abysmal, you feel me? But then again, when it comes to fighting games, PC is more than likely the minority. Like, I'm pretty sure Mortal Kombat sold more on, obviously on PlayStation, but also on Xbox and even on Nintendo Switch, like a lot more. And I'm pretty sure the player counts on both of those platforms are a lot higher. And most of the tournament, and especially when you think about like PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken, they bought Evo, if I'm not mistaken. So like when you think of competitive fighting, PlayStation is the platform that your mind typically goes to first because they are more associated with tournament plays when it comes to fighting games, especially after the fact that I'm pretty sure they bought Evo or ESL or something like that. So I mean, he has a point there. He has a point there. There's players on PC and on Xbox that may be as good, if not better, than some of the top players we know. I mean, look at Ninja Killer. Ninja Killer was somebody who loved MKX and was killing people online in MKX, and then all of a sudden, like, he started fighting competitive players online and was washing them. And that's how he got his name out there. You feel me? Look at people like the Mighty Unjust, who was just playing online. He was playing the online tournaments like the ESL and stuff like that. And he was washing people. He was killing. He was winning tournaments left and right. And now he's a tournament player and that people look forward to seeing and tournaments. You feel me? So yeah, Tom Brady got a point. MK Tom Brady got a point.
And or it's just the system that is preferred when it comes to all the consoles, and at least for Mortal Kombat anyway. This is a disaster. I don't know how they could drop the ball like this, but Rip is not done. There are a few other things he talks about here, and let's go ahead and have him talk again, and then I will weigh in once again.
Tekken 8, Street Fighter 6, both games released in a very, very decent state, I would say. Every single fighting game release has flaws or needs patched in the beginning, but the difference is just how these companies handle these flaws compared to NRS. And that is something which I honestly don't know why. I don't understand it. I know that there's like the parent company above it, Warner Brothers, which has restrictions all over the place, but the main problem this entire community is facing right now is every content creator is trying to keep the game alive, but we cannot keep a game alive when there's like so many problems with the game that the player base turn their back to it, right? And transfer to Tekken, transfer to Street Fighter, or even stop playing the game in general because they're saying it is so repetitive. We face the same issue literally every single day. We see it on YouTube, we see it everywhere. The people just say this game is boring. And I don't know if another DLC can fix that problem in the
I don't think the game is all that repetitive. I don't think the game is boring. I don't play it because I just think some of these other fighting games are just better. it's like shooters. Like I still play Titanfall 2 because I love Titanfall 2. And when you compare it to a lot of the newer shooting games and stuff that are out right now, it's like, nah, I'm gonna go back and continue playing Titanfall 2 because I think it's better than a lot of the shooting games that are out. You feel me? So I don't. MK1 is a good game. It's just not. But to me, it's just not. Again, and this is all a matter of a preference. It's not better than like Street Fighter 6 or MK11. So that's why I tend to go back and continue playing those games because I enjoy those games more. But Mortal Kombat 1 is still is a good game still.
long run, Robo. We need fundamental changes.
Problem.
Yes.
Now he keeps talking about changes too. I wish he was a little bit more specific with the changes. He's pretty general with what he's talking about. I would have liked for him to get a little bit more detailed with it.
We need big changes. We need better room matchmaking. We need stability patches for online matchmaking. And
he said better room. I mean, I would have liked for him to give maybe a solution to that. He says better stability. I'm just gonna speak from my preference. Playing Mortal Kombat 1 online, I haven't had any real or much issues with playing MK1 online. Like, again, the netcode is fine. I think MK11's netcode was probably a little bit better, but I mean, the online was fine. Like, I had never really ran into those desync issues that most people were running into. So I'm just talking from my point of view or whatever. But I didn't really run into a lot of the issues that people were talking about with the online. And even still to this day, like I still, the online is fine for me. It's like, it's fine. It's fine. It could be better, but it's not unplayable.
Specifically for the competitive scene, we need crossplay, King of the Hill crossplay, so we can at least grab all these last remaining competitive players, because believe it or not, yes, there are a lot of people playing MK1 in general, but the competitive scene is struggling a lot. First of all, prize pool numbers very, very low. Yes, we are in the decent position that we are able to crowdfund a decent amount of money. But when we talk about decent amount of money, you can't even compare that with money like Street Fighter or Tekken. These major fighting games are able to put out. That is something which is, of course, on the publisher, which is not in our hands.
And there you go. He says his tournaments are crowdfunded. And that gets to my point. Free promotion! You have a game, people like it. People like it enough to compete in it without you, NetherRealm, or Warner Brothers having to provide any sort of income to it, even though you do have your tournaments in which you provide income and to help promote your game and stuff like that. But you also have little smaller tournaments that are doing the same thing that are not requiring your financial input into it. And it's still promotion because people are still watching these tournaments. These are people who look at the tournaments and they see the tournaments, they enjoy it, they're watching these players play at a higher level, and it entices them to buy the game. Those players also may, through word of mouth, talk to their friends and family and also tell them to go ahead and buy the game as well because they enjoy it or enjoy watching it and stuff like that. It's free promotion, NetherRealm. He has a valid point here.
But I'm not sure how we have to, or what NRS is going to do in the long run to
Didn't you
keep
say
the
recently?
Okay, so let's stop it there. There are a few things he talked about here that I really want to weigh in on. For one, he again mentioned that, listen, there are a lot of content creators who are trying to keep the game alive through all the game's flaws. But the problem ultimately is the product is bad. The product is not good. There's only so much you can do, only so.
He didn't really say the product was bad. He said that there are issues with the game. He didn't specify what the issues were. He didn't say the product was bad either. The product is not bad. It's fine. Like, the product is fine. It's not bad. But yeah, that's just MK Tom Brady taking more of a cynical approach and me taking more of an optimistic approach. So
Much positivity you can try to pump into a game, because at the end of the day, when the people do come on to play it or do come back to it, they're going to realize it's still the same garbage product they left to begin with. So all the positivity in the world is not going to help. We've already established that. You can try to be positive. You can try to say,
it says garbage product. What? I mean, what makes it garbage? It's playable. I think it's just more of a matter of preference. You don't like the game, so you just don't like the game. The game is functional. It plays. I don't see anything garbage about the game.
oh my gosh, look at how good things are. Doesn't matter when the people come back to this game.
Not to say it doesn't have its issues. Like, all fighting games have its issues, just like Rip said, but it's functional, it's decent. Like, the game's fine. Like, it's just fine. It's not good, it's not great, it's not bad, it's not trash. It's a fine game. Like, it's a mid if you really wanna just it's a mid game. Like, that's it.
Or pick it up for the first time, they're going to say, no, this is not good. And there are so many issues. For one, the stability, not good. We talked about how King of the Hill, the way the players are connected to.
Again, I from my personal experience, I haven't really had any stability issues, but again, that's me. I only have like 50, 60 hours in the game, so it's not like I don't have nowhere near as much time as some of these other people.
The host, it is the player that's closest to the host has good advantage. They have less rollback, less input delay, etc., because it's not a server that they connect to. They connect almost like a peer-to-peer to the host, which obviously the person closer to the host is going to have the better connection. Now there's obviously the competitive scene takes a huge hit here. What would have jump-started at least the online competitive scene slightly, brings some life back to it, brings some numbers back to it, now is just a huge disappointment. Imagine if you're a PC player, if you're an Xbox player, looking forward to competing in a lot of these leagues that you have to watch every single week that you cannot compete in. You're waiting for crossplay, it comes out, and you still can't do it.
He has a point there. He definitely has a point there. That could be really frustrating for players, especially players who want to compete at a high level, who want to compete in tournaments and stuff like that. He has a really good point there. He definitely does.
And then, of course, he addresses another elephant in the room, the repetitive nature on the game. People are saying it's boring. And he talks about Warner Brothers. But the thing is, Warner Brothers is not the problem here. The problem is, again, the formula NRS has used. They scrap everything. It takes them way too long to rebuild everything from the ground up. And it only leaves them a few months to then just throw as much as they can into the game, throw the characters together. How's the game going to play? Let's slap some quick content into the game, things of that nature. It's a terrible formula, and now the game is really suffering for it. And then the one thing that might at least breathe a little bit of life back into a badly suffering competitive scene has been messed up by NetherRealm Studios yet again.
I hate to admit it, but he has a bit of a point when it comes to legacy characters. Like NetherRealm, every Mortal Kombat game is just completely different. Their characters are completely different. Like even when you think about Sub-Zero, why it rattles my brain why in every Mortal Kombat game Sub-Zero's ice ball is a different input. You feel me? In one game it may be down forward 1, in another game it may be down forward 3, in another game it may be down forward 2. It's like why change the input of that move? Like why not keep it like down forward 1 or something like that? Like it boggles the mind. Like you can play a character in one Mortal Kombat game and that character will be completely different in the second Mortal Kombat game, and then be completely different again in the third Mortal Kombat game, and then be completely different again in the fourth Mortal Kombat game. And it's like that is a lot of time and effort for your studio when they can just take the base character and just improve them. You feel me? Kind of like how Street Fighter does. They tend to take like the base character and they'll improve them. They'll may give them like a few new moves. They may give them a few new animations and stuff like that. But at the core, the character is still the same. Like for example, like Ryu. Ryu has been basically the same character for 10 years, 10, 15 years. And he's still one of the most popular characters in Street Fighter 6 too. Like he's still one of the most popular characters. He's been the same character for like 20 years. All they did was like give him a few extra moves and stuff like that. But he's still like it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, and then you look at Tekken, and Tekken is the same way, where it's like they don't need to focus so much on each specific character because they're looking at the character and they may add a few moves to that particular character, and then that's it. The focus comes in the actual gameplay and improving the gameplay, the visuals, and everything around it. So, yeah, he has a point there. He has a point.
And what's even more disturbing is you would think that okay, this is finally going to make people unhappy, and they're finally going to hold NRS accountable. I know that the word of mouth of the game is bad, but there's a lot of people still trying to pump positivity back into the game. Surely this time they will not keep their head in the sand. Of course not.
This
Look
he
at
talks
the
about
reaction
people
to
having
this combat
positivity
patch.
for the game. I don't have any
this
issue
is
with people
terrible.
having positivity in the game. I just have an issue when people are
This
being
is the reaction
disingenuous
this
about the
patch is getting.
positivity for the game.
Of how can you possibly expect anything to ever change when these MK1's new character changes everything? What are you talking about? This cameo changes everything. This is crazy how you could have something like this and
what I mean about
This
them
is what I
being
want to
disingenuous
I'm looking
about,
up the
the positivity of the game or whatever is that they praise how great the game is. Meanwhile, they themselves are not playing the game.
combat cast. Oh my gosh, did you see this? Did you see that? Is it going to save the game? Hype, all this. This is why nothing ever changes and why nothing ever will change. Because if Tekken or Street Fighter blundered like this, their community would massacre them. I promise you, you would not be reading about how hype everything is. But the Mortal Kombat community, a lot of these people that have voices just refuse. Too many people. I understand there's a lot of people that blow them up, but more people than there should be let them get away with this. And as long as they continuously can get away with this, they will continue to do it. They yet again show you they will do the least amount of work possible. Another bootleg fix to the game. And there are so many issues that still remain in the game. The netcode is absolutely terrible. If you play a game like Tekken 8 and then you go to Mortal Kombat 1, the netcode is abysmal. The input delay is abysmal. The rollback is abysmal.
I kind of want to ask Lou Streets like if that's the case, because he came from Tekken 8 and he recently played Mortal Kombat 1 for the first time in a minute.
The possible patch notes. And
so I want to know how the netcode compares.
When you hit his ghost, he takes damage, and then when he tries to refresh his ghost by throwing you, so before, if you hit his ghost too early while it was in the process of being refreshed from a whiff throw, it wouldn't register as a hit. You had to wait for the ghost to completely be refreshed, and while that's happening, Kenshi can do a move. So if he's got you with the ghost full screen, refreshes it, and you're trying to hit the ghost, he's doing a move. Now you can hit the ghost the very second it begins to refresh. And those are the changes they announced to the gameplay thus far. Now, Tyler Lansdowne said there are going to be more patch notes for one. Obviously, one of these patch notes is going to hit. God knows when. Probably not when the patch hits. Probably have to wait a day and go into practice mode and once again try every move with every character to try to see if there's any differences. But if this patch was going to be something significant in how the gameplay changes, I'm positive they would have addressed a lot more than just two very, very minor changes to Kenshi. And by the way, nobody has asked for more nerfs. What they're asking is the game is boring, it's stale. They're asking you to power it up. But it looks like NRS is going to make changes to the game at the speed of evolution. That combined with a massive blunder to crossplay just again shows there is no hope for this game. My question is,
he's taking more of a cynical view. There is still hope for this game. He's like I said, he tends to take a more cynical view. I tend to take a more optimistic view.
Again, how long will people continue to let NRS get away with this? Nothing will ever change unless this changes right here. There will be very few and far between videos roasting them to the ground. Most of them small content creators like myself, 20K views. There are other content creators that have 10, 15, 20, 30K subscribers, not views, subscriber base. These people have 50K, 100K, 500K, and they're like, hey, yeah, this is awesome. Hell yeah, saves the game. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? This is why nothing will ever change. Until this changes. But as always, let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, everyone. Stay tuned for some more riveting Mortal Kombat. No, I'm joking. But
All right, he's basically done. Yeah, that's basically it for the video. I hope you liked the video. Like, subscribe. Definitely check out the Adrian Rockstar SoundCloud in the descriptions below. Remember, your life is a fantasy.
Boys in the hood with big dreams of being superstars. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't, but you gotta work super hard.